I really wanted to like this movie. They tried to make it feel like a direct continuation of the Chris Reeve films, but Returns crossed lines that shouldn't have been crossed. I point out issues, mistakes, and problems all the time. There are movies and shows I don't like, but even with what happened in Superman 3 and 4, and I really don't like them, I still rather you continue and fix than just erase. It's too easy to just go, we're ignoring the last two films. Look at the total mess of the Halloween movies. The only things that I would have no problem getting nuked out of existence, Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. You have to be that bad for me to go, you're not worth saving. Superman Returns had the potential to get this to work. They captured the essence of the old films, and I will admit they improved on a few things. The comedy, the references, and actor cameos were all done good. Almost everything aligned, from getting access to the unused footage from the original version of Superman 2 to casting Brandon Routh playing the new Superman. Visually, everything you worried about being different didn't get screwed. Replacing actors is always going to be hard, but Returns did fine. Even the new additional characters were good, from Perry, Lois, Clark, Jimmy, Luther. It's them. They feel like the original actors and comic book characters. John Ottoman adapted John Williams' original score into his own music, pulling them out in all the right moments, but gave himself his own space to come up with new things. My favorite music moments are Lois and Superman's first fly, where the music lets you hear the pull between her and her old self moving on from Superman, and the plane rescue. Returns did a hell of a lot better than Man of Steel when it came using Clark. I hate it when it comes to dual characters where one side of them gets ignored. Batman, Superman, Hulk, you gotta use both sides of their persona. Without Clark's lighthearted corniness, the movie becomes way too reliant on serious, which is what I hated the most from Man of Steel. Returns, thank you for having Clark Kent. Jimmy, I think, was improved. I didn't hate Mark McClure's version of Jimmy, but he felt more like an older Jimmy Olsen that had a few years under his belt. Yeah, he still got into the dumb situations, and he had the back and forth between Perry. The key elements of Jimmy are there, but the hyperness and his look wasn't in the original films. Sam Huntington got Jimmy down. I consider Huntington and Superman the Animated Series as the perfect Jimmy Olsen versions. Returns is canonically a continuation after Superman 2, roughly 5 years passed between the two films. I really got torn on this because all the complaints I had with Sup 3 and 4 were dealt with in Returns. I didn't like that they had to go back using Lex, but I get it. It was a restriction to where the movie has to fit in, so I give it a pass. The story also actually shows properly how Lex learned all this stuff and how he was able to eventually control the Kryptonian crystals. So why don't I like Returns? While they do a good job in most places, they mess up on the details. They'll pull from Sup 1 and 2, how does Lex know where the fortress is? He found out because of Alpha Wave, so Lex planned all this in jail 2 times. They wanted to do a plot that has Luthor use technology of Superman's planet against him. This needs Lex to gain access to the Fortress of Solitude a second time, so Superman had to be gone. This path starts the domino effect. It even introduces us to new plot issues. First, does anyone on Krypton know a thing called a security system? Because Lex just walks in and Jor-El OS loads up, but the fortress is hidden in the Arctic. Humans couldn't reach or survive it. What about enemies from other worlds? Superman exists, other powerful beings would exist, cold wouldn't do anything to these people, and if they're from another world, they're going to be technologically advanced, so they could probably find the fortress by its energy signature, which Lex did the first time. What's dumb is that in the comics there is a giant lock and key on the fortress. It's almost never done because of how goofy it is, but the comics thought of this problem decades ago. The key is extremely heavy and would prevent at least humans from getting in. Then you have Superman 2 where Lex and Zod walk in. Bull Clark wouldn't do something about this after those events. Nah, Lex walks in the second time, gets up to the terminal, it turns on, no check for Kryptonian biosigns. We know Superman could do almost anything in the fortress. He built a large version of his escape ship to travel to Krypton's gravesite. He could install a password generator. This had a really simple fix, which is what's stupid. Why didn't they just rip off Superman 4? Since it now doesn't count anymore, have Lex steal hair from an exhibit. This would give him a Kryptonian biosignature. Combine the kryptonite burglary with this, Plot hole avoided. Clark learned nothing from the events of Superman 2. First time he looked stupid in the film. Next issue is the 5-year journey. I'm not a heartless person. I can understand Clark wanting to see if any of his people survived. If I was him, I probably would have done the same thing. The issue is that he just leaves.
How could you leave us like that?
This makes Superman look very bad. Yes, they found the location of Krypton, so he wants to go, but there was no reason for not to tell anyone. Even Lois points this out in the film. She brought up her original interview with Superman. The argument of him not telling her just because he hates goodbyes went out the door. He spewed so much personal information to Earth in that interview, but you won't open up now? You're not even saying goodbye. You're trying to see if your race has survived. It's like King Arthur going on the Holy Grail journey. He was not abandoning Camelot. Second, Kryptonians are this super advanced race. He could have left a communication device to chat to his mother, to Lois, or Earth. Why didn't Superman just tell Earth he was going? He doesn't need to go into personal details, just that he's going on a journey to his home world to see if he could find anyone left alive. I seriously doubt Earth would be like, "Screw you, Superman, your job is to protect us, you can't leave." This was conflict for conflict's sake. If they had tweaked it just a little bit, they could have made Clark look good and still allow this plot line to happen. In a flashback, have him give a big speech at the UN. Take more ideas from Superman 4. Present his reasons, leave something behind so he could chat to Earth. This is where I would set up a sequel. Instead of Clark going to Krypton just like that, Earth gets a signal. That's how they find the location of Krypton. This is what motivates Clark. It becomes big news on TV. Earth finds location of Superman's home with the secret message. The planet sees that Superman wants to know. He goes, leaves a communication device at a special location. The world thinks they could keep track of him. At first they get a few messages, but the distance starts making transmissions take longer till after a few years they just stop because someone's blocking the signal, rerouting it to another location. This is where I have Brainiac begin his plot. Brainiac tricks Superman to go to Krypton. He knows someone was launched to Earth and needs to get information on his body. Clark arrives, but that message leads to nothing. Now, Clark is smart. That's why I have the whole time dilation thing in there. He would think that the transmission that reached Earth was probably sent many years prior, and whoever sent it out must have died by now. So he heads home with no issue, without realizing he was duped by Brainiac. Mind you, this wouldn't be revealed till the sequel. We would just see it from Clark's perspective. Of course, because Clark was sending transmissions regularly, he thought Earth would be happy when he came back. But because of natural disasters, terrorist attack, and the sudden loss of communication, some people thought he abandoned the planet. This is where Lois writes her Pulitzer Prize. My changes still gives what it needs for the plot, but Soup no longer looks like an idiot. I can stomach one screw up. Lex gets into the fortress the first time. Kryptonians maybe were very lax with security because crimes didn't happen often, especially if you're going to get banished to the Phantom Zone. But after Superman 2, no more get out of jail free cards. I think what happened was that the writers got stuck into the whole, let's make a more realistic world. They added a lot of things that would make it harder for Superman to do rescues. He deals with more realistic physics in the film. That's a good writer dealing with his godlike powers. Just because he could instantly stop a plane, everyone would be turned into a pancake. So we can't do that. They had good intentions, but they didn't consider how this makes Clark and Lois look bad. The next problem was the EMP effect Kryptonian crystals did on the planet. They did this because they needed a way for Lois to get captured by Lex. Wrong way to do it. This now establishes that Kryptonian crystals disrupt planets they're placed on, and Lex used a grain of a crystal. If this sliver did this huge EMP that spanned hundreds of miles, what the hell happened when the fortress was first created? The whole planet should have been knocked out. The EMP effect doesn't even make sense. It only has one strength setting no matter how much energy is used. The EMP effect that came from Lex's continent should have knocked out the planet for hours or days. No, it's dictated by the script. Because of this, I have to assume when Clark made his spaceship, this also caused an EMP effect. That ship is not tiny. Basically, crystal building can be weaponized by enemy Kryptonians. You want to take over a planet? It just needs water, throw a crystal down, boom, EMP planet. You can keep this going forever, just keep dropping crystals. Brainiac would be doing this to destroy planets for their knowledge. This is the same problem The Last Jedi did when they weaponized hyperspace. All they had to do was have Lex capture Lois when she was picking up Jason. He hates her just as much as Superman. I see him totally doing that. He would just wait when she was vulnerable at some point, gag her, and boom. The last and biggest problem is Jason. This character would not have existed if I was writing the script. He doesn't work if you break it down. The reason why we have the 5-year time jump was so we have a 5-year-old Jason who is the son of Superman and Lois. Now, this is all based on the events from Superman 2. For this to all work, Superman had sex with Lois in Superman 2 just after he removed his powers, followed by the Zod stuff. Zod and everyone dies. Weeks later, Earth finds Krypton. Superman decides to go on his journey. This means for Lois to think Richard is the father of Jason, Lois had to have started hating Superman merely 2 months after he left because, mind you, Superman pulled his kiss erasing crap in the second film while she was going to have his baby, and now he has no memory of what happened. That makes this look even worse, regardless that Superman didn't know. You're stuck with this small window where she wouldn't know she had a baby unless everyone's fine with Lois lying about a son that came out of nowhere, making her look even worse. But the story still hurts Lois regardless because she gave up on Superman in just 2 months. And then this also means in those 2 months, Lois met Richard and then had to have had sex with him. And she didn't consider this could be a professional problem first, since he's Perry's nephew. These things are completely out of character for Lois. It's why I wouldn't have done this son thing at all. I have no problem that Lois finds a new guy and got married in the 5 years. It's a consequence that Clark has to live with, and this would still work in my changes, but taking Jason out from this plotline prevents Lois from looking horrible, rash, and out of character, plus removes another blight on Clark's stupid track record in this film. Keep Richard in the film, do the same things, just get rid of Jason. Then you can have the relationship happen over the 5 years without time constraints. Jason had no real purpose in the movie. All he did was damage characters. Returns is nowhere near as bad as 3 and 4, but these story issues made me hate the film. If they had caught these problems, I would have loved to have seen Ruth and everyone else continue playing in the Chris Reeve universe. It just sucks because this cast got no chance to really do its own thing. They were stuck with elements left from Soup 2. We didn't get a new villain, which I'm sick and tired of. Returns was almost there, but everything else went poof. Because of timing and other behind-the-scenes issues, we got a new reboot going in a completely different style, rehashing Zod again, and that's next up in my reviews.